Still, look, we have to turn on our mics. They get really mad at us. Okay. All right. Can we do a roll call first? Oh, we have to call the meeting to order first. I apologize.
Sorry, it's okay.
Let's call the meeting to order today, February 11th, 2025 at 7:07 p.m. Can I get a roll call?
Rachel Stewart,
Present.
Dan Scow,
Present.
and Chairman Melissa Wilson.
Here.
Okay, quorum has been established.
All right. So going on with our tonight's appointments, new businesses, I think we're good. Do we have anything we need to talk about with the new business or appointments, Miss Christine?
No.
Okay, so we'll go right into the tabled items. Mr. Severson, Mark, are we happy with the drawings we got on the vents?
Yes, and
Okay.
they are stamped, and that's what we need.
Mr. Severson is on the Zoom link. We can't see him.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. We're here.
Perfect,
Okay.
perfect.
Oh, there he is. Look, he's tiny.
It's a cartoon.
It's something new.
Do you want to grab a microphone for you and then point yours
Oh,
toward
on it, boss. Or wait,
this one for him,
We'll just-
and then yeah.
you're gonna talk. I'm not gonna talk. You're not gonna talk. Okay, Severson, and we've got everything else lined up. The events is all the only thing I had, and everything else is lined up with the building inspection for the plan review. Miss Christine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Are we ready to issue a permit? Do we have any other questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the R1-01-2 for Severson.
I have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
A second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Perfect, all right, permit, ready to rock and
Thank
roll.
you.
You bet, thank you, sir.
Sid, I'll issue that permit, and then we'll get that sent off to you via email and a hard copy in the mail, okay?
Sounds great. Looking forward to it.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. See ya.
Thank you. All right, moving right along, Mr. Brad Wolf. This is the first time, we've gotten to see the plants. Last time he was with us.
That's right.
We had a table last
We
time.
did, because we didn't
actually
get,
had the letter.
oh,
I
we.
had last time.
He's got an
got
approval,
the
he's got an
real letter.
official approval now.
That's exactly what we need. We'll have that put right into your packet. Can you hand that, Miss Christine? Was
you.
there any other questions that we had for, concerns? For
That
Mr.
was it.
Brad?
I think the only piece was the non-structural steps that were
Well,
onto and off.
and I recall that we didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to him because he didn't have the approval, so I
Yeah.
don't know if we looked at any more of the plans.
It's, from the exterior, all of the structure is inside of the setback.
Yep,
The stairs are ancillary, they're not structural,
okay.
so that's.
Snow
it's
storage,
not in-
everything was all there.
Christine?
I'm still waiting for mine to bring
Snow
up. Snow
storage?
storage and everything was all good on Brad's? Okay. Setbacks were good, we had the building envelope, all that good jazz. Oh, hey, there we go.
It's,
This is new.
Yeah.
You're doing this, right?
certificate placement because
You're
it's so,
responsible.
because it
I wouldn't say that.
it is so tight on
Yeah.
all of that.
So, just so you know about the certificate of placement. Now you know about that?
Yep.
Okay, because you're so tight to the setback, if you're over, we're gonna make you rip it out.
Right, it just has to be surveyed properly. and
Okay,
then-
just so, we have to put it that way now, because
Oh, hi.
I don't like to do this twice.
we don't either.
I get it.
So, I'll make a motion to, approve R1-02-25, Brad Wolf's, 85 Columbine Street.
I have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It'll
All
be
in
50
favor?
degrees next week.
Oh, we didn't hear you, sorry.
Never know. Might be cold, no snow. So thank you guys, appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming in. All right, moving right along. I believe we're gonna have to table the next two items for JW Property Investments, C&D. Because, remind me, Miss Christine, did we just barely get his plans today? Is that what the,
So we, with the change in personnel, we have received those plans. A preliminary plan review was completed, and now we have a new building inspector, and he has submitted corrections for the initial plan review, and I have sent that to the new building official for his review.
I
That
noticed,
hasn't been completed yet.
okay. And then I had some notes here when he showed up last time. I'm sure that the building inspector will look at that too, about something about the road in the back and the retaining wall, letter from Lower Valley, all that stuff.
We
was
did get
still-
I did get a packet from him, I want to say it was maybe Friday,
Okay.
Thursday or Friday, and then it did get sent off, and there
Okay.
was a letter in there from Lower Valley Energy.
And let's see here.
Did you read it?
Did I read it?
Did you read that letter?
I passed it on.
And then I showed that the building plotted and snow storage was one of our other concerns that we talked about.
So
I'm
we're
sure your
still-
guy is
yeah,
gonna look
we're
at that too.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry,
So we're
pardon.
still,
Okay.
yeah, we're still, working through all the logistics of that.
Okay.
I hate to, push it down another, but he basically assured me that obviously he wasn't gonna be starting because we still have a lot of snow, and they're just getting all their happy ducks in a row.
Well, and to be honest with you too, the last time he showed up, he wasn't expecting a permit either. He was just throwing it to the wall to see if something would stick, so. I'm sure he seemed very understandable. And I'm trying to remember my words, don't mind me. All right, okay, so I'll entertain a motion to table those two items. I'll entertain a motion.
I have to scroll back.
No pressure.
So, I'll make a motion that we, table the, R2-02-25 JW Property Investments to our next planning and zoning meeting, which
I
is
have-
on the,
March something. 17th.
March 11th.
11th,
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect. So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
Do we have any further discussion? All in favor?
I guess, well,
Oh, whoa, never mind. Not in favor yet. Pardon me.
the only part that I know is true, you just brought it up, there has not been any discussion around the town's importance to the road that has been plotted behind. And that there is really no, there are no drawings that talk about restabilization of that hillside.
Right, and we mentioned that too when he was here last about the retaining wall. He didn't have any drawings or anything, and
And there's nothing in our land use development code that says if that hill moves, what the impact to the upper people are, because their house is right above.
there are, yes, sir.
So that whole area we know is really unstable from here all the way down. Maybe the town would want to have some type of earth investigator to come in and say, this is what you got, but we don't have any of that. So I just don't want the hill to fall down on somebody.
And let's bring that up on the LUDC workshop review so we can see if maybe we want to add that to it as well. If that's okay. Okay, I have a motion. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor now?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. All right, so now discussion items. PUD.
Come on up.
Oh, here it is.
That's all of you.
No, that one's gonna be him first.
160 US Highway.
Well, we can
No,
flip-flop
we can-
those, because he's technically, you're not really here for 160.
Well, Emmett has a water meeting,
Oh,
so I can be here for that one.
okay,
It might as well,
might as well.
yeah. Okay. I just.
Okay.
checked.
So which one are we gonna do? We're
Here's-
gonna,
This is, lot
160.
12, for the properties. I'll just take notes.
this is the one that you brought to us the last time, right?
I just,
Correct, so that's the live work
So, do you
site
have a
plan,
site plan?
oh, pardon.
What's your share?
and, it's The PUD applies to the same
Kind of.
site plan. But it'll be, Sherburne will be turning that in
Okay.
eventually.
The clock is ticking. All right, that's for this?
That's correct. So,
And-
1,
Yep.
2,
Correct.
and 3, but this will stay as one building, 6 units, but one property, right?
Correct.
This will be 1, 2, 3 properties because there's 3 units. They'll plat the foundations.
Are you going to sell, are they gonna be sold?
That's my understanding. I don't know exactly, what they plan to do with them after they plat them, but, it's a townhouse style land division.
All right.
And then out here, I believe there's going to be probably 2
All right.
in that block.
And I'm just gonna ask for clarification. It would seem to me that if they're going to classify these as 3 single lots, that has to be done before we move forward on any building permit.
Okay, now, I will kind of reiterate
Sure.
what Mr. Bennett has just said. This was the recent apartment buildings that were remodeled and upgraded and completed. We did permit unit 1, 2, and 3 as these live-work units here. They do have an active permit, but they have not started any construction yet. The idea, conversation that I had with Mr. Mabey is, before we move forward with any more costs or expenditures, we are looking at creating a planned unit development to have these available, if they so desire, at a future time, to perhaps sell one of those off. Is-
However, what he just said was, this is 1, that's 2, that's 3, to possible sell.
That's correct, but,
Right.
but that can't happen until the PUD is approved. So at this point, if they started construction, they would just have to rent them out.
But I'm
Right.
saying, it just makes sense
Yeah,
in the long term,
yeah,
if that was ever going to be. I mean, it's okay, the PUD is good.
Yep.
And maybe Rachel can weigh in, because she's probably dealt with more of this, but it would seem to me that if this has the opportunity to sell, these are now townhomes.
and yes, and they're already permitted as townhouses from the IRC.
Under the
Um,
IRC.
But the land division is kind of like, we got the building and what we did with this, right?
Correct.
And then the PUD and land division is over here. If this never happened and they decided to build them, then they would just have to rent them
Right.
out.
Well-
But their intent is to do the subdivision. But that's a process that takes months, and so,
Correct, I'm just saying, from,
yeah.
it's the chicken and the egg piece.
Yep.
Which should really come first?
Either or, I guess, it depends on the owner's preference. Let's put it this way, if they started construction and for whatever reason the PUD wasn't approved, that's at their own risk. They could not subdivide, but I don't know of what would be a reasonable objection to that.
So it's a couple of phase project here. So they're looking for approval for the planned unit development concept with the fact that they've got this existing building, they've got these 3 units. There is the potential here, the planning potential of having, as we all know, there's an existing building there. Removing that existing building and creating a commercial strip of some sort. So they're looking for concept approval before they move forward
With
to
live-
go
live work in
ahead.
here too?
No, that would just
No,
be
strictly-
commercial,
strictly
no residential on that one. We haven't discussed it, but it's, as far as I know, it's just commercial, yeah. And all those schematics and everything would be packed into that PUD application. We've drawn them, we're just making some adjustments, but it's, elevations and plans to fit that footprint.
Right.
And I hear, I'm just curious, is there any downside for the developer to not have those listed as individual properties before he goes?
Well, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to be upfront, and we did have a project in the town that was very similar to this, and then it went into a land division. So it went into a replat, and that, they just want to be upfront that this is what the intent is. The intent and the ability to go ahead and perhaps, if they want, they might retain it, but they want to keep all of their options open to be able to further develop this commercial strip of
So
land.
it doesn't change the way we power it, doesn't change the way we sewer it, doesn't change the way we water it.
Just change the ownership of
It
it.
changes
Just
the
changes
ownership
the
of it.
ownership of-
It's land division for ownership purposes only. It's the same property boundary.
Now, would
So you
we
end up-
treat that like we did that one set, to where like they had to have their own set of HOAs and their own shenanigans, that type of thing as well? And remind me, when we did that before, I can't quite remember, we had that huge discussion on what it was gonna be, a condo or a townhome. I just made a note to try to remember what that was, and I can't remember our conversation with that without pulling out my big
It's
book.
either you own the property or you don't own the
Right, but there was something, the
Yeah.
difference between the line and,
In this case, because they're townhouses, we're not stacking units vertically. They're like this. Okay, so there's no reason to talk about condominiums in that
Right.
case.
I apologize, I
Yeah.
wasn't stating
Yeah.
that. I was just trying to remember
Yep.
what we came up with when we had those conversations
Yep.
before. I apologize.
I think it's townhouse
So-
all day long on this one.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Okay.
townhouses. Yes, they will create, as part of the PUD process, as part of the replat process. So they're going in with the PUD to let everybody know kind of what their plan is. Then they're gonna, right after the PUD process, or simultaneously, they're gonna have to come in to replat. So they're gonna have to replat this property, replat these properties, so that way, does that make sense?
I do.
Man, I don't
It's,
know.
I totally appreciate the openness. My mind is telling me that if the intent is that, we should be doing it in accordance with the PUD, that we're gonna subdivide these 3 pieces of property
And that's what we're trying to do
at the same time.
at the same time.
Right, but a PUD,
The
it
PUD
started
is
like 8 months ago or 6 months ago. And so
Yeah.
I think, their decision to turn in the applications at whatever time they want to is where we've landed today. So the PUD application, they need to submit it and move it through this process.
Correct.
And ideally, it would have started last year, but
Well, I guess if they
We're ready for
don't
that
get
yet.
if they don't get the subdivision, if they don't get to subdivide it and make those lots. so-
Yeah, is that a lot split? Like, how, yeah.
it's
That's-
technically a subdivision.
It's gonna be a
But
subdivision.
that's what the PUD's for. And it's this exact same building, the only difference is the ownership.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
totally,
okay,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
still, I gotta get unhung.
I guess,
Our land use development code outlines a plan unit development process, and it also identifies a simple, minor, and major subdivision process. And
It-
depending
'cause
on
it's
how many individual ownerships are created,
it's simple
Through that.
because it's less than 5, so,
it's a minor.
yeah, it's a
Yeah, it's
minor.
minor.
I'm just saying, for me, it would seem that you'd
Yeah.
be wanting to do these both at the same time.
I think in a perfect world, that would make sense. But it doesn't always work out that way.
It's just, in the fact that you're being this transparent about it,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see the PUD as being the difficult part to get.
Yeah, I think, so Creative Properties, I think their intent was to notify the board tonight that they're gonna be submitting a PUD application soon. But Sherbel's office is submitting that. I did these drawings, right? And so I thought it'd be helpful to answer any questions tonight. And so I can't speak above and beyond for Sherbel, right? But I can tell you that this is the layout, and the surveyor is basing their subdivision application on this drawing.
Is there, and I'm just gonna
Yeah.
decide, is there anywhere where this could become a problem? I mean, and I'm just, I haven't seen this done yet, and I haven't seen
Yeah.
it like this. This is a
I would
brand new
say,
one for me, so-
Yeah.
so this is gonna be publicly noticed
Correct.
all around, okay? So it all depends on what that could generate, a conversation or not.
Well, the PUD is not a publicly noted piece. The public doesn't need to,
No, but because they're gonna turn
but
them
the
into.
lot split,
Yeah.
the lot split
The,
subdivision will
Yeah.
Yeah.
can I
Page
borrow-
28.
have that
Can I
book.
borrow your book?
You want the minor?
It,
Page
it,
28.
it is going to be a publicly noted,
And I think it'd be
Extravaganza.
The subdivision part,
six
yeah.
lots plus common area, so that might make 7. Is a major 5 or more?
I believe it was.
on page 12, it identifies the plan unit development process.
Yeah.
And so there are quite a few elements in here that the applicant provides an application, and they provide a map, it gets reviewed, it gets put on a P and Z agenda for the proposed land unit development application, and we have a public notice that is out for 30 days, so that way people know. Everybody within 500 feet gets notified. We will have a public hearing on this plan unit development, and then from there, the considerations are made on the decision that you guys want to do. It does go to town council for review. I mean, it's quite an extensive process. In addition, that doesn't guarantee that lot split. So while they're doing this process,
It
they're
doesn't guarantee
also.
the PUD either.
Exactly. But they're also going to be working on the replat process, which is the subdivision process.
So is it?
And that is a minor, because a minor creates 2 to 5 lots or parcels.
So
So
I thought
you
you
got
said it was
3,
6.
4.
4, 5.
Well,
6.
this is 1,
New math.
2, 3, 4, and I think this is gonna be
That's
5
good.
and 6, and then the rest will all be common area. So it's gonna be 5 or more, any way you look at it.
Well, it could be it might be a major.
Might be a major then.
And that would be, based on a preliminary plat that's submitted with the application.
It
So
just
I
makes more
think-
sense to me to go that route first than it would be to go for the plan unit development, because one, you might not get either one of these.
Well, I think they want to run them concurrently, to have the conversation all together.
I mean, that makes sense. May as well get everything taken care of now, instead of waiting and doing half of it now. Like,
Yeah, I just, if does the subdivision have to be to public review also?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so now you got everybody who wants to comment.
Right.
So how do you avoid?
Well, you
But
could.
again,
How big is the lot?
You're looking at, and granted, public has the right, but you do have, you're not changing anything that's being built, changing the structure in which it's owned.
You're changing the planning
So-
of it, yeah,
Yeah.
the structure, the ability to go ahead and
Yeah.
have individual,
I don't know who would, I don't know who would be necessarily against that. I can imagine people would be against it, but I don't know
Yeah.
I
what
don't-
really good reason it would be shot down.
Well, I don't know
Yeah.
either, Rex.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
trying to, I kinda look at it in my mind's eye and just
I
say,
know.
if you're gonna throw the dart at these two things, and it's their piece of property, it would almost
Right.
make sense to go off the toughest one first and do the lot split. Because then you're pretty much saying, here's my planned unit development after that.
Mhm.
But then you'd be running application process and then application process, right? In two separate stages?
I don't think you're gonna
I-
be able to get away from it from here either, because you got two separate.
Well, I don't know the exact answer to that, but I just think that they would be like item 1 and item 2, and they would be read, whichever one has to be read first. Item 2 could not be approved unless item 1 isn't approved, if it works that way. But,
Well, that's where I think
Yeah.
they're gonna make it go that way.
yeah,
I don't think,
I think if you work through this plan unit development process, you've already established who your base is of who you're gonna be notifying. You're having a public hearing. You're gonna find out from the public if there is any issues, comments on that. I think once you get that first public hearing out, it's always a risk,
yeah,
to go ahead and submit the application and do all the work on the backside. But again, it's February.
Yeah,
So now
that's
you're
enough.
looking at the earliest, there's the earliest you're looking at is an April public hearing on a P and Z level.
right.
Earliest you're looking at is May. Now, we're totally into building season. So, I mean, I think
Yeah,
but the town's gonna want, if it's a subdivision, they're gonna want 3 readings.
no,
For subdivision,
yeah, no.
but it's gotta go to them.
It's gotta go to them and they have a public hearing, but it's not 3 readings.
Oh, it's
It's a 30-day publication for
Oh,
town, for
that's it.
planning and zoning. Then we make our recommendation to town council. Town council has an additional public hearing with a 30-day publication notice. You're thinking of a rezone, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That-
it's not an ordinance.
Yeah.
and this is,
This is just a process, a replat process. But then again, there has been other individuals that have put a lot of time and effort and costs out on the line to try to make that window, that building window envelope, so that way they could move forward with their project. Was it a gamble? Yeah, but, they were successful that they could
Then you
do
blow-
that
then you blow
lot
off-
split.
You go to the planned unit development first, so you can, if you get that, at least you can start to build, and then you replot it later.
I would
That
let,
would make more sense.
I think if you get the
yeah.
land use development, you're gonna get the replat.
You're gonna-
because they're gonna go hand in hand.
Correct.
I mean, that's a great point, and I'll let,
No, I'm
Sure,
just
we'll
saying-
speak to
I'm
that
just
part,
trying to
yeah.
Look at it and,
yeah,
but,
And that's why they're here, to,
Yeah.
to kind of
no, it makes
keep
sense.
keep everything
makes-
going and
makes
flowing
sense.
and kind of get an idea of
Richard, you got anything?
what the timeframe
Anything we
is.
No, I think
missing it?
it's pretty circular, but I think that makes sense.
okay, so that's the short and long of it.
That's all the darts we got?
Yeah. Any other comments on that one? I'll just let them know that we talked about it and had a discussion, and it's all televised.
And
Okay,
it's up to them.
yep, and it's all about being, we're here just to be transparent, and so
And we
I thought
appreciate
someone
that, for
else would
sure.
be here, but I figured it'd be good to,
No, and we
Right, so
appreciate
did
that,
I.
thank you.
yeah.
Oh, I need,
I guess if you don't get the PUD, you won't be, well, how does that work? If they don't get the PUD, are you gonna do these?
I don't know, that's,
Really kind of.
it's,
That's
it's
the,
up to the,
there's the crowd.
it's up to the, owner.
Yeah. Depends on
Alright.
it,
So
if
let
that's
me-
what the town, to see what the town wants. Does the town want to have,
Do they
You know.
have to do this in the PUD?
it would behoove them.
But
To do
they don't have to, because this is one building, and that's another building. So it's really only two,
So it's
right now.
right now, with
Right
an
now,
existing
because-
building on there.
It would seem to me that they could go for this one and say, well, this is our plan unit development while we're going, don't stop them
So-
here.
Here's another question. If they did, commercial condominium, it's not technically a land split, so you could avoid the subdivision process altogether.
Well, they're garage, happy people living
Right.
garage, it's house.
Right.
Yeah.
But a condominium, you could condominiumize those units, not split any of the land. Technically, under Wyoming law, that's not a subdivision, and you wouldn't have to do any of the subdividing.
It's a good point, Rick.
Yep, that,
I don't know if
totally
that's
went
true
over
or
my
not,
head.
but it's-
No, but I mean, it would have to.
I guess that's good.
It's better if we can do townhomes because, again.
Yeah, you can sell.
Banks can loan against the townhome.
yeah, that's what we were finding out before.
And then the condominium-
yeah.
condominiums are harder
Yeah.
in that world, aren't
Yeah,
But you, again, you send
It's
a.
the borrowing cost.
You have the same, you're building the same thing.
Correct.
It's just a matter of, and we're gonna have this very similar conversation here.
Correct. I mean,
The reason why we're doing it is it gives opportunity for business owners to own something that they might not be able to own in Alpine.
right.
personally, now that this is going through my melon,
Uh-huh.
and this is just like a work session, but it would seem to me that you want to start these, right? You want to get these going.
That's
this
my
way,
understanding. I mean,
right?
that's why we
So
permitted them.
It
yeah.
makes more sense that you just get these in the hole,
I think that's correct, yeah.
and then do this.
But that's,
That becomes,
but the whole thing needs to be,
becomes a planned unit
Yeah,
development
yeah.
at that point.
yeah, yeah,
Because right now, it's only two buildings.
Yeah,
yeah.
Once you bring this in, you can make these whatever you want. But, I mean, at least you wouldn't be dead in
It,
the water.
it goes out to public comment.
yeah.
Yeah, but
So
True.
if we recall correctly, there was a development in a close proximity to this, in which they had a project that they were building townhomes on, and then later came back to subdivide it off. And there was quite a bit of discussion from the citizens within
There was some
that
kerfluffle.
radius.
There was a lot
Yeah.
of kerfluffle.
And I believe that they're trying to avoid that. They
Yeah.
want to just be,
Yeah,
be able
absolutely.
to provide housing, commercial workspace, whatever, for other entities, should they so choose to do that. I think they're trying to avoid that,
Just the pushback we got the pushback was, there was a couple of things. Number one, the CCNRs, nobody was really that impressed with,
Yeah,
which was whatever. And we'll have much better CCNRs. And then it just seemed like, I think the people that spoke just seemed like, the developer was doing something,
underhanded. It was very, yeah, that was the common thread of the
I don't
meeting.
know that it necessarily was, and I came to the conclusion finally, it's just like, it doesn't change what he built or could build.
Correct.
It just changes
Yeah.
ownership.
It just makes, I mean, I'm just trying to help you
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
forward,
Yeah.
Yep.
you know, without, one, the public comment.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
You can get, if you don't worry about the plan unit development until you get to this one, this gets done and it's done. Then when you get to this one
Right.
is when, but you already now have this done.
Yes, but if we waited,
Yeah.
then they would build these as one building and then rent them out. They still wouldn't have that entitlement of the land division,
No,
right?
but you're gonna have to do that regardless.
yeah.
You're gonna have to do that, that's like two.
Yep.
You got
Yeah.
1 and 2. Or you get this built first, then make that 1, then make the spot at 2.
Yep. No,
You see
I
what I'm
think-
saying? I mean, I'm trying
I
to
see what you're saying, but I know Marlo and Jamie are here. They'd have a much
deeper.
higher level of understanding of those answers. So I'm, scratching the surface as best as I can. But,
Yeah, it's not our
Yep.
job to fix it, we're
Yep.
just like trying to understand all the pieces. And, yeah, it is February. March, April, May, you're going. Would we be able to do a PUD by that time?
30 days, right?
Okay,
yeah, I mean, that, it's reasonable to say that if everything
I
went
mean,
as
if we get it in
planned,
the process, we are, I mean,
yeah.
it'll,
it'll get done.
it'll.
They could
it'll-
get the
it'll
foundation
it'll
in the
get
summer,
done. They can
ideally.
kind of,
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, next.
Okay.
Thank you. Easy, sport.
Rex is like, let's go.
Wow, we're working on it, boss.
Look at it, he can't even, get out of my chair.
how many people want to be up here?
Here, let me get this out of my way.
This is gonna be somewhat similar.
Okay, good.
They're coming up.
All right.
Okay, here's your,
Amy, you want this one?
I have two sets, but, do you need two sets?
No, we don't need two sets, we'll just look at the site plan for starters, which we've shared, you weren't here at the time, but we've shared these. We have
Do your thing.
these almost 1,000% ready to go, but we're missing one engineer on them that didn't get his foundation plan in. This building,
so jealous.
so this building is the welding fabrication shop with 3 units at the end that are gonna be, and we're gonna do this very similar thing.
Condo.
We're gonna, want to townhome them and PUD them.
Got it.
So for individual ownership. We also have a building in front of this with 4 units.
So a total of 8.
Yeah, I remember seeing, it's,
Yeah.
nothing's really changed, has it, Rex?
No.
It's
Subtle
sexy.
things. It's the same layout that we had. So these guys are, South Park Metal Works, they're gonna take the bulk of it, and then I'm gonna take one of the units, and then we're gonna have some other units for sale.
In the third build, in
In the second.
Both, yeah.
This is the west building if you want it, Rex.
They can review them. So why we're dropping these off and we're not,
oh, that's right.
so here they are.
I remember that.
Building B, Building A.
Yeah.
There's the highway, Highway 26, Elkhorn Drive. This has been annexed into the town along with the lot behind it.
Bless you.
And we've done all of our engineering, mechanical, plumbing, electrical, civil, everything. We have one little, engineering problem that we're working our way through with the, tying it into the pressurized sewer line right there with this, we can't find that information, but I did talk to Bob of Blondie today, which was great to catch up with him.
Oh, there's a
And,
name.
He was gonna see what he had for information, so
Okay.
we're working our way through that problem.
And I haven't been able to check to see what type of drawings we have, but it's on my list.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think Bob probably has it. So we are looking to give you these, and we'll have the structurals for these in the next 2 days.
Is that for the big building or the small one?
This is the set for the big one.
So that's what we're waiting on, the structure for the big one.
Structural for the small one. So we would like the town to start reviewing these, and if we could have a list of what we need back from you by the next, we would actually like a couple, 2 weeks before the next meeting ideally,
That
so
makes
we could
sense.
turn it around.
Yeah,
They're saying a month now.
Are they?
because of our new inspector.
It's the new move.
Could we,
Beyond our control.
beyond, great.
Probably got it in
So-
last week then, huh?
It would have been really smart.
So we do have a new building official. And we are working through what our plan process is going to be. I did let him know that these are coming, that we are getting this in the works. And so he's aware that this is coming.
Great.
So, and I'm trying to get the I'm getting the fees put together,
Okay.
and then we'll get the application put together. I did tell him, I don't technically have the application yet, but this is gonna be a process, this is not gonna be an easy review. I'm sure it will, because it's New West, but,
Well, they're very thorough.
you know, and so it'll take a while for that
It's much
to
more
get.
thorough than what we've been getting.
And I just need to make sure that I have the documents to move forward with him.
Okay.
Because I don't wanna send him pieces and parts, because then
Well-
it's not gonna be good for everybody.
So we're trying to submit these as soon as we have them.
Right.
Together, we are submitting them to the state, which we have nobody has control over the state. So we'll
Right.
be hopefully not waiting on those, but I'm trying to operate under the assumption that I'll be able to permit these next meeting.
How soon before you get the
Okay.
structure? I can tell you right now, if you gotta put it to the state, the last one that we did was almost 2 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That-
Under the impression that it was about
It's just-
2 weeks.
In theory, they
That's-
have
that's what they say,
21
but it-
business days.
It was,
2 to 3 weeks.
it was best part of a month
Okay.
that it took the last one. When do you get these structures?
Tomorrow.
I expected them today,
All right,
actually.
so- All right.
So,
Bring
we're-
'em
we could use this next month, with the town and with the state to try to get these reviewed and back and turned. And we have enough, I feel like we have enough people behind us, we'll be able to flip them real quick, so.
And they're thorough enough too.
Yeah, they look like it. They look exactly like what you were talking about to begin with, when you did the conceptual. Yeah, everything looks amazing.
Boom, boom, boom.
There's
There's gonna be a PUD. There, it's one of those.
the civil electrical, I mean, the structural has to be stamped.
Correct.
And the inspector is not gonna be reviewing the connections, he's gonna be reviewing the stamp, essentially. So the biggest part of the review is the site plan and the life safety of the buildings, and these are, fairly simple buildings. The west one is just core and shell.
I haven't seen how he's gonna
Yeah.
do this yet, so this is,
Can
you're
you
really
talk to him,
getting, you're
or
really
how does
getting
that
the first,
correspondence work?
you're really getting the first go
I haven't
around
met him.
on how
Absolutely,
this is gonna
yeah.
work for us.
And so, the other thing is, we're available, if he wants to have like a meeting in 10 days or a week or whenever, we can make ourselves available.
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get our game plan right now. And so I had a meeting with him yesterday, and so we're working through the logistics of when the permits come in and, you know, being able to have the digital copies sent to him and working through all of that. And he is amenable for meetings and stuff like that. So it just depends on how you want to strategically plan that, if it's, you know,
Yeah,
and we're technically gonna be removed from that, so it'll be the building official, so he can set that up.
that's great.
So
Yeah,
we can
perfect.
contact him and set up a meeting if he wants to.
Yeah, will we
Yeah, I
contact him
believe so.
through you, or are we contacting him
So,
direct or through?
you're
this
gonna
meeting?
be contacting him directly.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna be providing him all of this stuff.
Bramwell, right?
Right. So I'm gonna provide him all of this stuff and let him know who our key people are.
Okay,
you know,
I mean,
provide them
she's still gonna
the
be
list.
taking the plans in, she's still gonna be doing
Yeah.
a
Good.
plan check to say, this is what it is, go away, you don't have enough.
Right.
And then she sends it downstream.
Is that a standard? Is that on our business card?
You don't have enough, go
You don't
away.
have enough, go away. But that's still gonna be, from how I understood it, it's still gonna be her job, a portion of it.
Right.
But all of what we're doing right now, this is being taken completely
Good.
out of us. It's just
That's
not
great.
gonna be in our wheelhouse anymore.
Wonderful.
But until that gets set up, we're.
Well, the plan unit development stuff will still be these guys. The replat stuff will still be these guys. Plan review, structurals, that type of stuff will be the building official.
Gotcha. So,
So you're not gonna get rid of us.
I mean, we don't look at these anymore. We're not gonna be
no,
looking.
yeah, no, I
Well, we
think,
might see a site plan.
and I think
about
that's smart.
it. Yeah, I mean, I get
It
it.
takes liability off of you.
Well,
Yeah.
but you know how it was. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd start turning pages and go,
And find a couple
what about
things.
that?
You found them at a lot
As
of
long as
times
it's
too.
timely.
Right.
So I didn't wanna do that.
Yeah.
So
I
building
don't blame
official is gonna review zoning as well? Or, okay, just life safety? Yeah.
Plumbing, electrical, what's gonna end up happening is everything that we have to inspect, you're gonna have to start providing a drawing for. Plumbing, electrical, mechanical,
What?
yeah, it's happening.
What?
Because you know what? You
I'm
can't.
okay with that.
You can't, yeah, you know it as well as I do.
Yeah.
You can't inspect something if it ain't drawn. You can't walk in and go, oh, well, it looks good.
What are you looking for?
You know, what you build, here's my paper.
Right.
And it's just, the way it was being done here, just it doesn't function
Yeah.
like, right. That's the liability
Well, it's-
we're trying to save for
It's,
everybody.
it's growing a lot more too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna start changing. We have
It
to
already
adapt
has.
to that.
All right.
Now, you guys still do dictate the fees, though.
Yes, we do. At the current time,
And
Better hurry
what are
up.
we thinking with ERUs and sewer?
I have to go by
So
the
it's very
adopted,
broad.
the adopted ordinance that I have on the books right now.
Did you listen to the past workshop meeting?
I'm
She
still,
did, I
I'm
didn't.
still
I was out of
working
town, I would've
through
been at that one.
that fee schedule.
What's that?
Better.
So,
So,
Get your
as
fees.
far as
fees.
deliverables
Oh,
for
yeah,
you,
no, that's what
Christine,
we're
what do
here
you
for.
think?
Get them in,
Yeah.
cause it's gone.
So I can tell our.
get your checkbook out.
Yeah, let us know. We'll write it right now.
Yeah.
I can get together with you.
Great.
Let's get together and have a meeting, and then we
Great.
can go over that, and then you can, does that
We'd like to
sound?
pay you.
Yes. I'd like your application too.
Yes, it'll all come at once.
We will, drop those structurals off to go with this
As
one
soon as we get 'em.
soon as they hit the email.
As soon as they come
Perfect.
off the printer.
Yep.
And we are requiring a digital copy now. We have, in addition to a new building official, we have a new program. It's a community development module that we put all of our permit applications, all of our structural drawings in, certificates of placements, any structural calcs, whatever we have, and we put that into the module. And
So like a portal like Teton County uses?
I don't know what Teton
It's
County uses, so
similar,
probably
Okay.
something
but it's not for
similar.
public, it's not for public use. It's
Sure,
Okay.
it's
For
just for
internal.
internal.
It's for the
just
Yeah,
like
for
Teton
internal,
County.
and he has a log on.
Great.
And so that way he has the digital copies, and, but again, it's a system, a new
Yeah,
system
Teton
we're
County
working
wants your
through.
left shoe. We're not asking for your shoes.
Teton County's
Not
easy,
yet.
it's not
Not yet.
Jackson. So, we're good there. Happy to participate in that.
Okay.
So let's get a meeting together. Possibly you can talk to Ramel on his timeline prior to. Okay.
Let's, for some reason, I wanna say something's going on Thursday, but let's do it. I'll get hold of you.
Okay,
We'll do a
perfect.
tentative on
That works.
Thursday.
Great.
We're trying to beat the steel tariffs, so.
Yes.
I'll-
That would,
Don't put the cart before the horse here. Come on, yeah, I know you.
I mean, so,
Beaver,
yeah,
but
I-
don't,
I'm sorry that we have some new procedures.
No, that's
We have a
fine.
new
That's okay, that's why
mechanisms
we got in here.
put in place, but, you know, I mean, we know that your project was coming, and so we're gonna try to, you know, work through any hurdles that we need to work
Have you
through.
filled out all your plan unit development paperwork yet?
That is in
Sherble,
Sherbal's hands.
Sherble has that as well. And he knows about it, we're on a schedule, and we'll get him in here too.
So I'll take care of the application and the fees, hopefully before the next meeting.
Perfect, we'll do it Thursday.
Perfect.
And it's gonna be a PUD.
But it's going to be a PUD.
That's smart.
Perfect.
All right,
So,
any
so
questions
let-
for us?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so as far as their timeline and their concept, they've got a east building and a west building, right?
Yes.
So they're gonna work on the
Oh, sorry.
east building first.
Well, we're planning on permitting and building them at the same time.
Consecutively.
Okay,
You would not do that.
Right.
Because of
Yeah.
congestion.
but what we're gonna do is
But if
we're
we
gonna
could
go
put some
ahead.
emphasis on the east building first.
Exactly, so
so
we're
we
gonna
can
permit
order-
the east building first, so that way, when they work on that, they get that completed, they can get a C of O on that, and then they'll already have their permit in place for the west building. However they decide they wanna work that, but,
We wanna
We're
get
trying to
these
stagger
guys,
within like,
we want these
a
guys
month.
in there
Yeah.
first,
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
up and running,
It's
so that's our priority.
and I don't want, so that's why I'm saying, I don't wanna put them both on the same permit, because then you gotta have east and west done,
That's
Oh,
it.
I know
gotcha.
that's not,
No,
that's
that
not
makes sense,
conducive.
yeah.
You're gonna split
We're gonna
those.
split that permit,
For the
so there'll be two permits,
Okay.
a east and a west.
Perfect.
That's a
So,
good idea.
Love that.
yeah, so,
As long as we can order, concrete, steel.
At the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
concurrently.
They're gonna be
they should be approved at the same time, they just have separate numbers.
they'll just have separate
Right.
permit numbers.
See.
Kinda like, basically, I don't, you guys have got an agenda. Over here, we've got the two, they're gonna be simultaneously, but they're on two separate lots, and they're gonna be permitted as two separate.
Yes, I
So-
think that would be fine.
And we've done that for a couple of different projects.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I mean, we did it for all these back here.
No, that's right.
All
Yeah,
those
that's right.
individual,
Yeah,
and
we
I
had
did that strategically, so that
10
way,
different.
10
permits,
different permits.
That was
Yeah.
fun.
So they
That
can
was
finish
fun.
out.
Yeah,
No, but it needs to
Perfect.
be.
but I did.
This
have
looks
another
amazing.
question for them. What was the question?
Thank you very much.
Well, thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
when
okay.
you step out the
Oh,
door,
wait.
we'll have 5 or 6 more questions for you.
Okay, so,
Should we, call back in when we get
Yeah,
home?
you step outside and then come right back in.
What do you need, Miss Christine?
okay, so here, we have the same scenario here, that time is of the essence. Winter is rapidly
We got
Going
38
away.
days till the first day of
going
spring.
away. And so we're
Go out there
gonna,
and tell me it's
we're gonna try to do everything simultaneously. But again, I think the concept is we're gonna try to go ahead and get those permits for construction and work through the PUD process, work through that replat. But what we're trying to,
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong, to try to go ahead and get ready, order steel, do
order
whatever,
steel,
get the,
that's our longest lead item, so as soon as we have the permit, we'll order steel, even though we can't dig yet, by the time we get steel, we'll have everything.
That makes sense.
So-
That makes sense.
Yeah.
we're trying to utilize the best
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
3 weeks of summer that we have.
Please, like, if you guys need anything
And still go
expedited, let us know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, the biggest is if you can get those, if we get the structurals and they're sent off,
Yeah,
then we're at his mercy and we're
Right.
learning what that turnaround is gonna be, if it's 2 weeks, if it's 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I know that he's got other things, so.
we'll
These
adapt
plans
to
are
everything,
really
so.
basic, so we don't think there's much that he'll have to look at. We're really depending on TIs, so.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about,
No,
What he-
no, it's
how he
all
looks and
learning
what he
too.
sees, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
you know?
Okay.
I mean, I haven't really tore his drawings apart yet, but,
Right.
you know how it gets.
They're,
Like Brett, though, he's got.
see,
pretty
they're
good
in there,
Right.
the wet, yeah, exactly. So there's 40 or 50 Lambda 17s, that's how New Court issues their standard details, and then the engineer of record will have full-size.
Are you gonna use new car?
Yeah,
Yeah,
So yes.
yeah, they're actually all domestic steel, so that's kind of cool, but steel
Straight.
has,
It's straight steel.
yeah.
Straight. Wow.
These guys.
It's better than, it's better than the Chinese steel that gets off and through Mexico.
Yeah.
All right.
And we have some items that we're working on, such as how we mentioned the connection to the sewer line and the water lines that we've got running down the highway.
Particularly the PSI.
Yeah.
runs
Yeah.
out of them.
That makes sense.
So they need some important information that the town's gonna have to work with the Public Works Director and town engineers.
I think if we can't get that, we've got two ways to go. If we can't get the exact information we need, we can still design it.
We've
can-
got an option
We've got an
too.
option. It's
Well, and
slightly
we need a
more
location.
expensive.
Where technically are we gonna connect? Are we gonna connect on the upper part of the highway or the lower part of the highway? Or is there gonna be need to be a pipe to be put on
Currently, I think
Alpine
we're
or
on the upper
however? Yeah, so
connection.
I
Yeah,
would think the upper,
that's kinda in here too,
yeah,
those
so,
locations.
okay,
Yeah,
we're working on it.
we're working on
Perfect.
it.
Sounds like a plan, Stan.
Thank you.
Thank you
for your
guys.
time.
Appreciate you guys coming in.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you as
Welcome to the club.
Where's your t-shirt?
Okay,
All right.
you can't take those. Thanks, guys.
No, I don't want to.
Okay, so let's move right on along.
I mean, you can actually send them the one building, right, Christine?
Yeah,
Right? I mean, they can,
I'm gonna.
all we need is the digital copy of that one. We can at least get that down the street.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's move right along to.
Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
See you, Rex.
LUDC workshop revision and review. So, going through my notes to study, or to go over the stuff that we had to go through tonight, I happened to find on one of my pages that we talked about maybe putting dumpster information on there.
Yeah.
I found it in my book, in my
I don't know
notes.
if they can handle all of that.
All right, page 88.
All right, so we're on land use development code, and we have something that we have not done, was the dumpsters.
So I had it written down in my book when I was doing my research for the meeting tonight. And yeah, absolutely.
I don't know when we're seeing that.
It's not, it was
It's
just,
not,
it was in my, we were thinking
That's
about
a
putting
no.
it in 308 to 309. It was just a note that I had found, on my notes, internal notes from one of the meetings.
It's not. I know we've talked about this.
We did talk about it, it's in my shorthand notes, when I was trying to find out.
And I know it's in the adopted building code,
Oh, okay, it is in the adopted building code?
well, in the IR.
In the
IRC.
Okay. You guys, public comment?
No, just listening.
Okay, you're good. Just want to make sure you're good, yeah.
What was it, 3.8?
Yep.
3.9?
So I wrote down page 88, 4, section 4, 308 to 309 is what we were talking about, maybe putting it in my shorthand notes for one of our meetings, is what we talked about.
That's snow storage.
Right. I should have,
Stormwater management. Oh, it is in here. Christine, there it is.
Wow.
The
87.
annexation, that's the piece with the annexation of
87.
the
Sorry, I wrote down 88, I
Snake River
apologize.
Junction, where we brought that up and
About
missed.
the dumpster?
No, well, we talked about amount of stormwater
4.
runoff.
Section
and
4.
We were told that it's not necessary, but it's in the
3
land
dash
use
307.
development code, and we should look at that.
Okay, but what's that got to do with trash?
We're gonna get there.
Oh, I thought we were talking about trash.
No dumpsters.
Dumpsters,
That's not trash.
that's not, yeah.
It's just a dumpster. All right.
So if, we don't have to address it, like I said, I just happened to notice it, it was in my notes, on a conversation, a side note that we had had at one point in time. Oh yeah, here it is, 8/13 of 2024 is when we talked about it. We need to add dumpsters on page 88, 4-308 to 309, is what I have written down in our meeting that we talked about. I don't know why we were discussing that for
Construction
sure.
dumpsters.
Construction dumpsters, is
It
that
was
what that was for?
construction dumpers because
Okay.
we had a gentleman in the Alpine Meadows that piled it up high and it blew.
Oh,
and
that's
went everywhere.
right. That's right. That was when that windstorm
And that
happened.
was the windstorm from him, and that was also the windstorm from
In my neighborhood.
the
Yeah.
extended stay. Trash went everywhere. And I'd have to say, it's windier here than it is up north. I will say that. It is,
This isn't wind.
it's just funnels, and once it goes, it starts, and it almost makes sense to, almost mandatory, that if you're gonna do a construction project,
You have a dumpster.
weigh in, that
Yeah.
you have a dumpster.
So I didn't know if we wanted to discuss that or not. Like I said, I just happened to find it, so whatever you guys think.
I remember this.
It was,
I think it needs to be in there personally. And there's another guy who plays in the world who would probably say it would probably behoove us. I don't wanna put words in his mouth, but I know it's a cost increase, but
No, it isn't.
it has to
Because
be.
you have to deal with trash at one level some way or another.
Correct.
So maybe rather than specifying a dumpster, you should say like trash containment or something like
Can-
that.
There, that's
Yeah,
what I was wondering.
we're gonna need
That's
to,
what I was sitting here
It could be
thinking,
a
how do we
trailer.
wanna call it?
let's try to get it on the microphone, because that's a really good idea. We need to, I know, I'm sorry. You can either sit down or you stand up. I know.
State your name.
State your name for the record.
I need to have an AKA, also known as. So, yeah, I think you should have more than just saying, calling it a dumpster. It's too specific. Because I have a red dump trailer that I often use for
Yeah, that's true.
trash, so it should.
Trash containment is what you were thinking?
Trash containment or.
Can we say
or
covered trash containment?
Say whatever you want.
Well, I mean, here, up north, I wouldn't
Yeah.
really worry so much about it, but here, the wind goes so hard.
Yes,
Once
ma'am.
that oscillates, it's gone. It's just sucking it right out of the dumpster.
Yes, ma'am.
What was the heading that you came up with? Trash
Trash
containment?
containment.
But you said something else.
Trash container, trash containment,
You said one more word. Sorry. It kind of,
I don't know, you'll have to play back the.
If
His
you
name
were
is-
on the record.
His name is Bob Schmidt-Leppen, and then he came up with it.
I don't know if we, I don't know how easy it would be to have covered trash containment.
Well,
Most of those dumpsters, unless you just put a tarp over the top of it or something.
we do.
Yeah.
I mean, they make those, they make this,
The
they
net.
kind of a stretchy.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
there is a town ordinance, clean and orderly premise.
Oh, that's true, there is one.
So, keep that in mind,
That's a good call.
that if it is not a covered trash containment item, it could maybe fall underneath that.
That's true.
Is it a nuisance if people don't do it?
Hold on a minute. The nuisance ordinance. I don't know, I'd have to get my sheet out.
I mean, I'm
Because
just
the-
thinking it's like, you get one and then, you know, and if
I
it
think
happens
it's a
again.
whole separate ordinance, and it's called clean and orderly premise. And it's one of the, older ordinances that the town has on the books.
No.
I'm
Let's pull it out.
Like,
Let's look at it. We're here.
hand me your duty.
You want this? Are you gonna find it
Oh,
there?
she's on it.
She's on it.
And I have a very basic note here. It doesn't refer to dumpsters, but it just says, all construction debris is to be stockpiled neatly on site until disposal, which shall be done at county landfill or recycling facility only no debris is to be disposed of in local waste collection facilities. That's just like a boilerplate thing, but
That's because you got this good guy doing that.
I know, but just the terminology, I'm saying, construction debris, and
Oh,
all
that's
that.
good. I see what
That's
you're
what I
saying.
was
Yeah.
thinking.
But see, now,
That was
I
also
think
on
you
there.
should change that and per town of Alpine ordinance, so-and-so.
Yeah,
It's a so-and-so.
yeah.
Construction debris, I like that.
It's, I'm gonna say euphemism, yeah. But anyway, I guess it always goes back to the, cowboy code. Don't let your stuff blow on other people's
Well-
property, yeah.
Yeah, we can say that, but
Yeah.
you,
Or as soon as you
remember
find
standing
out
out
it's
on my
blowing
back
away,
deck
go
going,
fix it.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
styrofoam,
No, it went all, it was just,
oh,
it went.
Do you want construction debris containment?
Construction debris, yeah, I'm good with that.
No, that's it. It is old, yes. I will agree.
Print it.
Wow, we're making it work
Getting
hard.
hit? Wow. Ouch.
Oh, stop.
I think it's broken.
It is not broken. You'll know if it's broken.
Okay, so we want to include that in, you want to make that as a section down below snow storage?
Well, that's what we kind of talked about.
Okay.
Initially. I don't know if that's where you
Well,
guys want to
That
put
might look
it.
like a good place to put it, and it'd be a standalone. We need to come up with a general.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Just like snow storage, general,
Well, I
and
would-
then,
Oh,
some
yep,
standards.
yep.
Shouldn't it be
That's a
in
good idea.
R1, R2, commercial, MRC? Shouldn't it be listed in each one of those?
How much is overkill?
Well, if,
Because snow storage isn't in each one of those. It's in, this is in development standards.
I think
I
development
don't care,
standards
it
should
doesn't
work.
matter.
I'm
Wherever you wanna put
I'm
it.
just thinking out loud, you know, it's, some people need to be shown the way.
And you should go to church.
Now Rex knows that you're gonna put it in a bag, or it's gonna end up across the highway,
Utilities, adjustments.
Okay.
or up in the power line.
Or you could put it in, you could put it in each and every one of them. You've got your minimum setbacks, maximum building height, vehicular parking and storage, fencing. You could put it right maybe before fencing, accessory uses in buildings, authorized signs. I mean, I'd kind of suggest that you probably put it somewhere around vehicular parking, storage. Page 50, sir.
No,
Oh, it was way too.
I was just looking for something else.
Oh, sorry,
I'm right here.
okay.
You know, I'd like it to be its own standalone piece
Right, so.
between those two.
Would you
Yeah,
would you
after
like it in between?
Yeah.
In between here?
Correct.
Before fencing and after the,
Well, before vehicular parking.
oh, I see, maximum building height.
Yeah.
I thought it looked better on just before fencing.
Just so it's its own thing.
Okey dokey.
Are we good?
So, each.
That's the only thing I found, Christine, don't yell at me, I didn't find anything else, I'm sorry I found that, and you have to add it again.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Okay,
It seems to me. Oh, never mind.
okay.
It doesn't seem to.
Were there any other comments about the meeting? We need to revisit the food trucks, we need to revisit our sign.
And it was also the applicant piece, the applicant maps. Weren't we gonna change these?
I don't remember.
We are not gonna change those yet, because we don't have a direction yet,
Okay.
or,
Well, we talked about it.
we talked about it.
And then the only other notes I had was the food trucks, the sign, and the covered parking, but do we want to
Okay,
do that
but
the
I
next
want-
round?
Since I have a captive audience here,
Captive.
captive,
They are tapping their feet.
I wanted to, because I know that this is something that they were, interested in.
Though the parking, the off-street parking?
Okay, can it's not up there, so can I just read this to you guys?
Yes.
Okay, we're talking about setbacks. Our favorite subject.
What page are you on, Miss
I
Christine?
am on page 73 or 115 of the packet. However,
It's,
you're-
it's
whatever-
the
whatever-
new,
73.
the new packet.
Oh, I don't have
I
it.
have it pulled up here.
It's here.
Oh, okay.
We gotta go through.
Okay, so setbacks are required specifically for safety, legal, and aesthetic reasons, which is what we had in there.
Okay, so-
The first 5 feet of the setback is established for landscaping and snow storage. Vehicular parking is allowed from the 5-foot mark to the required setback distance.
Okay,
For parking.
for parking.
Any comment, anybody?
So can we have snow storage in the 5-foot setback
Yes,
beyond the building?
but the buildings themselves have to be in that original setback.
Right.
So we're just giving the
Yeah,
parking.
I don't think that anybody has a problem with the setbacks of the building or the
Thank you.
footprints.
No, it's to be able to go ahead and have some of that parking. So if you have a 25-foot setback, your first 5 feet would have to be for your landscaping and your snow storage. And then you could have, and I'm just using this for an example, the next 20 feet could be allowable to have parking in there.
So you're like, yeah, you're allowing parking. in the
We're
setback.
allowing parking in the setback
Well,
only to that 5-foot mark from your property line to you.
what zones are these? Are these all zones? Across the board?
It was,
Commercial and
R2
MRC.
up,
Oh, wait a
not
minute.
R1,
Yeah.
R2
yeah.
and up.
Okay,
Let me double check.
so now, I like that.
Well,
But
that's what you wanted.
Yeah, and that's why I
And you're
like
getting what you want, so don't push it.
That's why I like it. So if parking curbs are required, are those gonna be allowed up to that 5-foot point?
Ooh, we didn't address that. That's a very valid question.
No, but I mean, you mean, as you park, you come to the curb.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
where's
like
the
a-
5-foot?
like a-
Is a 5-foot at that juncture?
Yeah, 5 feet, and then
That would
And then
not,
your parking area
So-
includes that curb.
that would,
Because it's kind of a structure,
Like a wheel stop.
a
Right.
wheel stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
So
wheel
that if
stop.
the space is 10 by 20 feet, then the wheel stop would have to be in a couple feet, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about the curb last week when we were talking about this.
Yeah,
Why?
my opinion is
well,
that
that
all
would
development should
be,
be
that
within
would be the
setback,
very
like
end
within-
of your 5-foot. It would have to be.
You kind of have to speak up.
Because you're parking, you're using the setback.
You're using the.
You're using that setback, that 10 feet for your parking.
Right,
So if your curb stop is there,
or wheel stop.
or wheel stop, well, or it could be curb and gutter.
Curb and gutter.
It could be curb and gutter. So I think that it could be all of those,
Okay,
but you have to define that.
it is meant for like a parking lot.
Right.
You go up there.
Now-
It could be curb and gutter.
Because I had asked the question, how you handling runoff and wastewater?
Oh, that's, I guess, site specific.
It's, and that's correct. That is why we're pushing for that whole ordinance to be when it comes from R2 all the way up, that a civil set is understood on the property, so we understand how you're draining all of this.
Which we have.
But it's, you know, it's in here, and I haven't seen that, and I haven't seen your flow, you know, how it's graded. And wastewater or runoff is something that's in the LUDC.
Yeah.
So I need some clarification then with this, if that's okay. So with the curb and gutter, now, we mentioned that, but that's not for, let me try this again, pardon me. With the curb and gutter, can we put that within that 5-foot setback and use that as well?
Well, that's part of the,
Parking.
that's part of
Right.
the parking.
But
So the
now
curb
that
is the
is,
5 foot.
but that is also, from what I understood, what we were gonna do is make sure that was a non-impervious deal. Isn't a curb like permanent and gonna stay and can't move?
Well,
Impervious? I'm just
yeah,
asking for
yeah,
clarification.
yeah. So, because nobody has done curb and gutter here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's in here, and how we handle runoff and wastewater, it's in here.
Right,
This is something that I have asked, but you guys don't really do curb and gutter. Have never done it,
it's hard to plow.
but it's gonna be a thing.
There's gonna be a
if-
trailblazer here.
There's
Yep.
gonna have to be somebody who says, what are we doing with all this water when we have all these parking lots? What are we gonna do with it? It's gotta get moved.
Well, in your commercial areas, you already have that, that's a requirement of the
Yeah.
commercial going through the state.
Correct, but,
You have to show that.
sure, but that's
So-
not like all the stuff that was built here prior.
Right,
I mean, that's just kinda like,
it just goes.
it just goes. So,
I don't know.
when do we hold the line on that?
So,
I don't,
here's what I think about that, and I think you're probably onto something. When you start, and this was always my concern, is that we maximize the available use of each lot.
Rex, can I get you up here? It sounds like this might be something that's gonna be super beneficial, but we're not gonna know if we don't.
No, but it is.
It's-
This is- I know
So,
where you're going.
so from a builder or developer point of view, you wanna maximize the allowable square footage of building,
Right,
which, will push it pushes all the water out and it has no way
It's
to
impervious.
perk. Like on a R1, you typically don't have all the parking and all that. So on R2 and up, you might think about requiring, wastewater drain, in a drainage plan. And even, maybe that drainage plan is, okay, it just goes, you know, it
Goes to
could be
the south.
simple.
Yeah,
But somebody's gotta start thinking about that.
correct.
Because you're right, it's just as more and more asphalt gets laid down.
Correct, and when they, when they just did the Snake River Junction, and they're doing all these roads going through there, I said, well, how are we handling the water? How are we handling the runoff? And somebody said, well, we don't have to. And I said, no, we do, it's in here.
Mhm.
And we have to start thinking like that when we have all these big parking lots and somehow the water's gonna have to get diverted somewhere.
Well, you look at Brolins, like that was our biggest development over there, they have retainage or
Correct. It just
holding,
goes.
holding
Yeah.
ponds
Yeah.
and it perks back down. We've added a grading plan and how we're dealing with all of our runoff, including the runoff on, we have such big roofs, so we have a lot of water coming off the eaves that we're putting down into dry wells, basically.
Good.
Because you could get swamped.
yeah, for sure,
Yeah, I mean, if you get a 2-day rainstorm,
yeah,
right before the thaw comes,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
where's that? That's just gonna,
Well, and how many people had ice skating rinks in their yards this past couple weeks?
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that would, what are your thoughts, Brett?
I would agree here. On this one, so this has to go to the state, commercial over 5,000 or any assembly, right? On the state's list of requirements, the civil drawings are listed, okay? And given the scope and scale, it would not have been smart to just wing it, right? Okay, so that, what I'm saying is, the state projects have another layer for you. because they have that whole list that goes from geotech all the way up to like structural, okay? But for the town, I think,
We don't.
I think, the verbiage is vague, right? It just says, it says demonstrate, that you're handling your drainage, but what does that mean? That doesn't mean that they have to have anyone who knows what they're doing look at it. It just, most excavators can do a perfect job, right? But how do you control that from the town? And so, I think, if you're gonna do a grading and drainage plan, then you're gonna force a topo survey.
Correct.
You know, so I think it just depends on what use would trigger it.
I think the usage is when people are trying to maximize their lot, square footage, that's gonna trigger it. So at what point?
Well,
does
it's gonna
the-
be an impervious, it's gonna end up being a calculation of impervious. Your
Oh, there you
building,
go.
your roof line is impervious.
Right.
Your parking is impervious.
Yeah.
And it's like they do up in Jackson, but, you know, what all of those have just gotten more stringent
Yeah.
as they've gone along. But I think that here, yeah, we have a river that it's gonna end up finding its way to, but if everything is a parking lot and everything has got parking and everything's got this, it's gonna end up floating somewhere.
So, yeah, that would be the way to handle it, I guess, is what percentage of impervious, triggers the need for that,
Grading plan.
those
That-
grading plan and
yeah.
those water runoff plans.
What if,
Because you also don't wanna necessarily put undue burden
Yeah.
on local builders and developers.
No, but I mean, it's commercial, so you're gonna end up with, you know, I mean, we already know that it's paved,
Mm-hmm,
yeah,
unless you don't pave.
mm-hmm.
But even then, compacted gravel can still be impervious, so, you know, where does
Yeah.
the water go? You don't want it to go
Yeah.
into somebody's crawl space right next door to you, because they're just a tad bit lower. That's a disaster in
Yeah.
itself.
That's how we always done it, though.
I would ask the town engineer, like,
ponds.
you know, Kevin or someone like at the next council meeting, if he's there, say, hey, what's your take on this? What is the threshold? Where would you cut it off? Because, I mean, they do that all day long for many jurisdictions, and he may have a better answer. But, you know, the safe answer is to draw everything, right? But it's a big line item for,
But that's a
Some
big
people,
line item
yeah.
for some people.
you know, safe for the town.
I think it's
Yeah.
better to have, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I like the impervious idea. Of what percentage the impervious
To
lot,
trigger it.
yeah.
Because he may just give you a number, he's gonna say, well, it depends on the soil, is it clay or is it
Because
gravel?
people are gonna come into
Yeah.
the whole thing, it's like, okay, we're right at the threshold
Right at the
of
cusp, yeah.
impervious, but I can get one more unit in here, which is X amount.
Everybody pushes it, yeah, everybody pushes.
Everybody pushes, and that's the nature of capitalism, but, so one more unit might put you over the impervious threshold.
About having an impervious threshold. I think that's a good, I mean, there has to be some level, like you said, like some threshold for where you start to have grading plans, because it's kind of shocking that there isn't one already, you know?
Correct.
Yeah, it's important, I mean, especially like we have all these rivers here, all that water needs to be like managed, treated before it gets back in there to some degree. So, yeah, I think that's something that'd be worth bringing up with the engineer and seeing what he has to say about it.
Good plan.
Well, you'd almost have to look at the whole town as
Right,
on a topo survey,
yeah,
and kind of go from high to low and say, okay, we have to create a water catch basin here and a water catch basin here,
Yeah.
so that it's somehow, we're thinking past it, because if everything gets developed, sooner or later, it will be developed. And we haven't brought that to the table, like,
Well, we're also very spoiled with what we're building on out here.
Oh, yeah.
This is a very
porous.
porous
Yeah.
bench of
yeah.
gravel out
Hit
here.
on, yep, lake bottom,
So, I mean,
river
the
bottom.
fact that we haven't managed any water till now, like,
Yeah.
is,
Oh, with-
speaks to how porous,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
No
speaks
storms
to how
either.
porous
Yeah.
the soil conditions are.
But I mean, why are we doing you know, why was there a catch basin over at Eberl? Because you thought of it, because you were like, what are you gonna do with all this water?
Well, I didn't think of it.
Well,
Well, I think it's because it went to the state.
Yeah,
They probably made them do
it went
it.
to the
Yep.
state,
You
so
know?
that level of commercial
That's
is
the
automatically gonna have
They're
that.
all done with us, yeah.
So what the P and Z needs to think about is what the sublevels are
Correct.
that don't go to the state, and what triggers that within the town. Yes, percentage of impervious, I like that. Good plan. Good plan, Dan.
every once in a while.
I'm just glad to have the, as much parking as I can. Thank you.
You get Tuesday nights off?
Okay, so let me understand what you guys are saying now. The wheel stops, are they at the edge of that 5-foot mark, or where are they?
Yep, that's what I was asking.
They don't go into the 5 foot.
Yeah,
They're
I
part,
think
they're
they
part
stay
of the
outside of
parking
the 5.
lot.
I think
Okay,
if you're
part of
really.
it.
so I've got my
information-
property line, I got my 5-foot mark, I got my wheel stop right there.
Any parking structure.
Okay,
You know,
Okay, that's what I was trying to get clarification.
The-
on.
Yeah, 'cause I think it would be really easy for people to push the envelope of what's actually allowed in that setback if you don't just
Yeah.
set it as a really hard 5-foot line and be like, that's it, that's where your impervious stops.
So your back of curb, if you had a curb, would have to be on that line.
Yes.
Not inside it.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, I can totally see how people would cheat that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Absolutely.
I didn't say it!
Oh,
Yeah,
it doesn't say that.
Show me where.
here we go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the start of it right there.
Okay,
Okay,
now,
yes, ma'am.
for consistency's sake, this verbiage is in each and every zoning
Yes.
district.
Except for our one. We don't have to.
So
have
that's
that.
not, that's an exception, so it's not consistent.
It's not in our one.
Okay, just wanna
Because we
make,
don't have the same, we're not, the priorities are different in our one.
okay, I just wanna have it on record,
Thank you
you know.
for
It's
asking
R2
for that
above.
clarification.
So-
Because the setbacks, you're gonna follow the setbacks in R one.
But in an R1, you can have parking within that 5 feet. Just,
As long as it's impervious, right? Yeah, perfect.
right? Or are you saying no? What are you telling me?
You know, we've been spun around
The
that for a
first-
long time.
So the first 5 feet of the setback is established for landscaping and snow storage. So then, do you want me to get rid of vehicular parking as allowed from the 5-foot mark?
Oh.
So the question that I'm just gonna do it like this. How many cars can you park in a 5-foot setback? Or in a setback up to your 5 feet? If somebody could park cars in their entire yard and be legal if we use that kind of language. If you don't use the setback for anything but aesthetic pieces, then you won't have cars parked there. You won't have buses parked there.
Except for in R1 and R2, or just R1?
Well, if a bus pulls up
It's
to
R1.
my
Well, a
This is
R1
just
property,
R1.
we're gonna have a problem.
This is R1.
So,
So take the 5
5
foot,
foot out
okay,
of the, and you just
out of the
notice-
R1 and then in all of the rest of them. Okay, that's.
You know how many people would be screaming and yelling that we gave them the ability to do that because we didn't think about some clown putting pickup trucks lined up?
so you keep in mind too, like your side-by-sides, those are less than 5 foot.
No, but I mean, you know.
I was
okay.
thinking, I was actually thinking of a vehicle that you could park there, you know what I mean?
I was thinking about that too,
A
but
Mini Cooper.
how many
My-
Mini Coopers
my
can you park
Model A.
in that?
A lot,
There you go.
depends on how you stack
So
it.
is there an ordinance in town that says you can only have X cars in your R1 lot?
No.
There is something about,
Something about being licensed.
Yeah,
yeah,
They have to be
you
licensed.
can only have like,
Two
Two
unoperable-
you
unlicensed.
can't have more than X amount of.
Yeah.
Yeah, unoperable vehicles.
More than 2 unlicensed.
Yep.
2 could be on blocks.
Yep, as long as they have plates on them, they're fine.
There you go.
You're right. I didn't read that.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I was One vehicle that is owned and operated
Correct.
is where it draws the line. Must follow the CCNRs. Vehicles must be parked not to obstruct traffic view. So there you go. One unlicensed or inoperable vehicle. Only one, let me get one.
Well, we're in the garage, we were smart.
Okay. Now you gotta shovel snow off of your truck.
It's my truck.
Okay,
Okay.
any other
Tools
questions?
need to stay.
So I wanted to kind of,
It's fair.
and wasn't there another item that we discussed?
From
Well,
last,
we
There
had
was a
we
lot
had
of
the-
items
We had
that
a
we
trash
discussed.
container, but we were kind of thinking that was.
No,
No,
when these guys were at the,
So you want my list or
At
what
the-
we were talking about?
at the meeting, I
parking?
just kind of wanted to, so that was chapter, that was chapter 2.
Primarily setbacks.
Yeah, I mean, we had revisit the food trucks, the sign revisit, and covered parking is what we talked about, that I have highlighted that we were gonna
And the covered
discuss.
parking, we didn't do.
We're
anything.
gonna deal with that when we go through the next reading, yeah,
We
I don't
didn't-
wanna
we
deal
didn't
with
do
that covered part, I don't know if we have anything we need to,
Well, because it becomes a structural issue.
yeah,
because
it's a
snowstorm.
whole
So
thing,
how
and,
do you-
yeah,
You know, you can't start mandating that people are gonna start, you have to cover your, you
yeah.
have to cover.
I think it's an amenity, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's a selling point, I think.
Yeah, if
Not
the
something you
whole-
can
if-
require people to do.
If the developer
yeah.
wants to do it, go
Yeah.
right ahead, but
Yeah.
I don't think you can force people to. like,
Require
forcing somebody
covered
to build a
parking.
garage.
Yeah, no.
I say they only.
Unless
do-
you're
they
gonna
don't
go-
do
Well, if
money.
you're gonna put a parking structure like that, you're putting posts and piers in, and it can't be in your setback.
There it is.
So,
true,
Yeah.
yep.
there you go.
There you go.
It's
easy
that
enough.
simple.
I can't think of anything else.
I
There
think-
was the
I think it
const-
was just a lot of, the shalls and the nays. and-
Yeah.
No, hang on, I'll find it. I know it's here.
You guys had the special use permit, but I was.
Yeah, actually, I pulled that out, I have it
Trying to-
here, but I don't think that, we did anything with it.
No, we just
have it.
talked about getting a special use permit. Is that in our wheelhouse or is that somebody else's wheelhouse?
I believe that is not in, our wheelhouse.
I think that was the
It was
lawyers,
gonna move
wasn't it?
into here it is right here.
A separate
Special
ordinance.
use permit and special review was gonna go into another ordinance. And we spent some
Okay.
time there,
Yeah,
but I think that's what we determined, that it was easier to make it an ordinance.
yeah, so that's out of our wheelhouse.
It's I mean, we can make a recommendation that they do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Update
I
additional.
Were you talking about Jeremy's list or something else?
thought that was
No,
two.
I'm just going through
This
all of
was-
my
we
notes
were
that I
just going
have.
through
Or
all
was it
of the
4?
Pieces of,
Yeah.
Jeremy's list was a little bit of it, but I
Yeah.
don't think that Jeremy's was, you know, his was about landscaping, rock landscaping, you know, he wanted rock in it, it's like, you can have that, but if you don't put green, right? We talked
Yeah.
about trees and shrubs, it's just gonna be Arizona, you know, it's the cheapest thing, we just put rocks everywhere, and it looks kind of stupid.
So basically, we left that, on that
If you want it
page
to
right
look
now.
like that, then, you know, that's what you got.
You got your landscaping requirement, and then xeriscape is an allowable component of landscaping.
Yep.
We just left it pretty.
It was,
Yep, we left it
generic.
xeriscape, however, we were gonna talk about, when we went to xeriscaping, that there was some,
Greenery.
Yeah, the
Yeah, you-
definition of xeriscaping that was provided at the end did mention having plant material included in
Correct.
that. So it's like, xeriscaping is essentially using rock, like on top of your soil to help retain water and prevent weed growth and things like that. It's not saying it's just rock.
Right.
So,
and when we put the landscaping portion in, we only used 10%. Now, 10% of your entire
Have to fix that.
has to be
Your
somewhat
lawn,
landscaped.
yeah.
Well, most
Wonder if
everybody's gonna do a little bit more than that, but we had to put something in,
Yep.
so,
What'd you
what are
find?
we, 45?
yeah, at least some zones in Jackson are
Yeah.
like 45%.
In Jackson, it's almost 50%, you have to. You don't get away from it.
What do you got, Christine?
Okay,
Trying to plug
we
in
talked about this, and this is the verbiage that we came up with. Construction activities. Property owners and contractors are encouraged to work with neighboring property owners during the entire process of their construction project. construction activities and all related sounds from construction activities are referenced in the most current adopted version of the Town of Alpine Health, Safety, Sanitation, and Noise Control Ordinance.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think
They're
that's
encouraged.
Encouraged.
So now you become a nuisance and they can misdemeanor you to level 3.
Yeah, but I know also some neighbors that can be a nuisance themselves by being a nuisance. You know what I mean? I was like,
I get it, but you can't, yeah.
it's like, I
But I mean, it's
can't,
like saving
can't
you from
not
the guy
build a
who's
house and
banging
be
his
quiet.
hammer at
No.
11 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just
Okay.
being a good neighbor. Like, don't wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and start ripping around with your lawnmower or your, yeah,
It's that kind of stuff.
or
It's
running your
pretty straightforward,
Jackhammer.
work during business hours.
4 o'clock in the
No,
morning.
because
no.
down the street from us, it was 5:30 in the morning when the Concord guys came stripping their forms.
Oh.
You know, it's like,
Well, I wish I could say I've never done that.
Yeah, I know, right?
But sometimes you gotta do.
You gotta do what
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
it's 5:30.
We got places to go.
Like-
Short building
Okay,
says.
so we feel good
Maybe if
about
it was
that,
out in the
so
field.
Uh-huh.
what's next, food, mobile vendors?
Just out in the street.
Christine's going through the
Yeah,
list. Are y'all good? Sorry, we got somebody who's keeping us right on track. Are y'all good with everything else?
Whatever
Okay.
you guys want.
Was there any other conversations? Are we good to move on?
All sorts of conversations, so,
Are you good with everything else, Miss Christine, for now, or do we wanna?
you guys are the ones who gotta tell me if you're good with it.
I'm
Okay,
good.
I thought all the language looked good to me
Yeah.
when I
Yeah.
read through it.
I did like the noise thing getting rebuffed, and I like that much better
Thanks for
than
your
what we were
language
doing.
on the trash. I think that
Yes,
was-
it was very beneficial, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
no problem.
all right, I'm gonna say let's move right along to public comment.
Good night.
Good night.
You guys are all
Thanks for
busted
playing.
up.
No, I just have a quick question.
Will you make sure?
Hit the button.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes,
And who are you?
Trish McQuaid. I'm just wondering, do we have any idea when the extended stay hotel is going to be open?
I believe it's open now. We talked about that at the
Not
meeting.
open.
Are they not?
It's been open since January.
Yeah, that's what we were told.
January, like the first week.
Okay, I've gone on the Hawthorne website and they are not,
Go inside.
went inside and what would be their lobby area is a stock room right now.
The stock room?
A stock room. I mean, there's no way to go in and check in.
Well, I know that the hospital is letting their employees stay there because of.
Well, I mean, I know there are people staying there,
Yeah.
but I'm just wondering when it's officially open for business.
I have no information on that whatsoever.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, gentlemen,
We'll talk
appreciate
soon.
you. Hawthorne.
I don't, I can check into it.
Yeah, I'm going on the Googler right now, checking that
Well, I think
shenanigans
she's
out.
already gone on the Google.
Yeah,
Well, I did, you know, and there's a whole lot of Hawthorne extended stays around the country, but when I put in Alpine, Wyoming, there's nothing there.
Let's see here. Here's one that says book. Okay,
Yes.
let me just,
Run.
I'm gonna try to book. Hang on. Let's go 13th through the 14th.
I'll call Casey.
Okay,
Yeah.
done.
I'll just tell him.
Search.
We know some people we call.
Not available. I just checked the room for Thursday, Friday.
Well, do they have a listing for Alpine?
Yeah, it says Hawthorne Extended Stay by Wyndham Alpine.
Oh, okay, the last time I went on, there, you know, there was no Alpine listed. Okay, well, I'm just
Well-
wondering, I mean, I know people are staying there.
Yeah, it's, so,
Maybe it's a poker game.
it's a poker game.
But like I said, the lobby, just
Doesn't look like it.
within the past week I went in, their lobby is a stock room.
Oh, well, it says it's a 24-hour front desk, so. I'm just reading their website, sorry, ma'am. But no, I understand that, yeah, we'll check that out. Thank you. That's very curious. Any other public comment? Okay, town council assignment for the 18th. Are you gonna be around, Mr. Scott?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I'll be back in time. I've got
Wait,
some,
is that March?
no, February, that's next week.
You skipped a month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
you
be-
skipped a whole month, yes.
I won't be here in March.
All of March?
No, well, the council meeting on that.
Oh, okay.
Because I have a wedding I have to attend.
Is it your wedding?
No. It's
Just double
Steffi's
checking.
daughter's wedding.
Okay, just checking there. Okay, perfect. So every town council meeting, they required us to have a P and Z person there
Yeah.
to
Do you wonder
present
why?
to whatever they've got going on, or let them know what's happening. Okay, I will make, oh, sorry, yes, ma'am. Please, go ahead. Did you have a question? Oh, the meeting minutes? I don't see, see, I'm looking at my paper copy, sorry.
We have to go here.
Yeah, I
Well, how come your paper
apologize.
copy doesn't have it
I
on there?
don't know.
It is on there.
I apologize. It is on there,
Bye.
my mistake. Thank you, ladies. I will entertain a motion for number 5 for the approval of the meeting minutes.
Can I take just a quick second? I didn't even get to go through this.
Okay. There's a lot of information.
Yeah, okay, I'm just going through, Conrad Bishop.
I mean, if you want, you can, never mind, I can't talk.
Yeah, if you'd rather not approve them and read them and approve them next meeting, we can do that as well,
No,
if that makes you more
I'm
comfortable.
almost there.
I believe is what I was.
I can't read that.
Everyone would, huh?
Yeah, nobody cares.
Work hard.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to approve the minutes of the past meeting, which was.
January 14th.
It was January 14th.
I have a motion and I have a second. You can't approve them yet. So I have a second.
So you're second.
I'm a second. And then, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Clear. Okay, now, number 7. I would entertain a motion for number 7 to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
I'm second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking at the updated one. I think I was like, wait.
8:48.
What's that?
Oh, number 8 is tricky, so I was confused when you